Good morning. Very, very happy that you're here. Another first Sunday. Seems like they go faster and faster. I can't believe it. A whole month has gone by. So, as usual, let's come together in a way where we are at peace. We're at peace with ourselves. We're at peace in our environment, and we're at peace with one another. And to help us to feel that, to hear it, to experience it, let us do 3 ohms together from our heart. Om. 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 So, have you been considering the word grace? What is grace? It's a very interesting word, isn't it? It's something that we don't really use that word. I mean, we used to say, I mean, maybe people still say, let's say grace before dinner, but grace is like a prayer. It's a state of mind, a state of heart, a state of being. Grace is that a moment in time when you feel the divine. It could be a very small thing. Again, like let's say we have dinner on the table and uh, somebody says, hey, let's say grace. In that moment, in 2025, some tables could have some bewilderment. Well, what the heck is grace? Why are we doing that? That makes me feel uncomfortable. Do we have to do that? Let's hold hands. Oh, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. No, no, no. So you see, we weren't all sitting in the place of grace where we're open to one another expressing love. We have to put rules on it, and it has to be like this or be like that, or if you don't say it like this, I'm not included. But we're all included in grace, even if things aren't even said out loud. We're all included in grace because grace emanates from each of us. Grace is it's for me, it's a word that represents the word God. A moment, please. But he came in for a little grace. He's like, oh, I'm glad you guys already prayed because, I'm getting some treats now. He's getting some blessed treats. So grace is one of those things that we lives already inside of us, and it's something that we give to one another. It can be a pardon, you know, it's a type of pardoning one another. We give grace to each other because we have it. We receive grace even though we have it. So grace is another word for love. I look at it like it's like the expression of love. Um, to grace someone is to be really, really kind, to be very respectful and peaceful. It's very difficult to be angry when you're using the word grace. So there's a grace period. What does grace mean in that sense? When you have a grace period, it means there's a forgiveness in there somewhere. There's this period where you're graced, no harm. So you see, this word grace is so powerful and it's really barely used. But it's a beautiful word and it is an expression of love. Anytime someone is pardoned, when you forgive someone or you pardon someone, you're offering them understanding, compassion, love. You're saying, I know that you hurt me because I could feel it, but I still don't want you to be hurt. That's grace. When someone has hurt you, but you really look inside yourself to help yourself not to return the disfavor. So you're granting grace to the person who harmed you, even if it was just for a moment. Harm can be felt in just a moment, but it touches on so many other things. It touches on so many other memories. So even though the disfavor only lasted for a moment, that moment, like I said, will touch on so many other things. So when you've been harmed in one moment by someone, and inside you think to yourself, I'm going to give them grace with this. In other words, you're not going to return the disfavor. It also helps you with those past memories, those past trespasses, so to speak, to close them down a little bit more than what they were before. So grace has this power to pardon, to forgive. That's a really big deal when we realize that we have this ability inside of us to pardon. But it's much more deep than saying the words. We can say, okay, I forgive you. It may be the truth. It may be something that somebody feels like they should say, supposed to say. It happens. We do what we think we're supposed to do, but that isn't always in alignment with what's really going on in the heart. The heart is where grace comes from, whether you actually say words of I pardon you or not. Maybe those words aren't going to come out of your mouth at all, but your heart is shouting them. Ah, yes, I pardon this moment because I've been on the other side of it too. When you think about it, you know that you have crossed the line with other people in the way that we speak to one another, the way that we are with one another. Grace, when we focus on grace, it's about focusing on that part of us that's incredibly strong. A non reactive part of us is really, really strong. Doesn't sound like it. It's like, no, you should be, yeah, no, that takes action. Action is where strength is. Not necessarily, like as you well know, I have a puppy. So puppies don't always have self-control. Does that make them bad? Do they need to be pardoned because they don't have self-control? So you see, the thing is that it can get very complicated in a lot of ways. But grace is a place that actually creates a place where we can we can resume moving forward. Where we're like, okay, that happened, that word hit me. It touched on some memories that were uncomfortable. And now I'm going to move through this. It's not an easy thing to do. We really do underestimate words and their power. Because we talk all the time. Talk, 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 talk. A lot of words going out in the world because we still have that thing where we think that words are harmless, or we want to think that words are harmless. But has anybody not been harmed by a word? Is there anyone out there that hasn't been harmed by words? Right? Words can cause very, very deep wounds inside of us. They can touch on wounds that already exist inside of us. We can stir up wounds by saying certain words to another person. And they could be words that seem kind of like, well, that didn't seem so bad, but the person is cut to the bone. But we don't know what their memories are now, do we? So we have to always be careful about our words. We give people grace by being aware of our own words. We are in a grace period when we're pondering on the word grace, and it helps us to like not want to cause that harm because we know what it feels like to be harmed in that way. It doesn't take much to ruin a person's day, you know, uh, because again, we don't know what memories are in there that are unhealed. And so these words come in and they touch on that unhealed memory, and then we're upset. And then we go out and we meet other people, and because we're upset, now they have to pay for it too. So that little word that was said earlier in the day to you that hurt you, now you're saying another little word that's going to hurt somebody else because it touched on pain, and pain made it so that we couldn't have self-control like a puppy. So it's hard for us to have perfect self-control. It is. It's hard to be responsive rather than reactive. It's very difficult. And some things we can be more responsive about than reactive than other things because of our memories. And we all have different memories. So different things trigger us. Because we can say, well, I don't understand why this is upsetting you so much. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But it doesn't have to make sense to the other person. Why does it have to make sense? For it to be valid, for it to be real. So, grace to me also has to do with practicing grace, giving grace to your own self by helping yourself to reflect before you speak, which is very difficult. To actually have a moment where we can reflect what's going on inside of us so it doesn't come hurling out of our mouth, smacking the other person smack up against their head like the boom, And we're like, "Ah, I don't know what you're so upset about." You do know. But we do it so much that we just kind of think to ourselves, we just got to get over it and move on. Just get over it in that moment. And what does get over it mean? Does it mean stuffing, pushing it away, forgetting about it? What usually happens is it just stacks up with all of the other things that you've been holding on to, too. We got all these little towers of bad memories in there, just one more little thing that goes on top of it makes it topple, and then we're totally out of control for just 2 minutes. You can be completely spun out of control for 2 minutes and cause a boatload of pain for others as well as for yourself. It could disrupt situations that could last for days, weeks, maybe even years, depending on what the situation is. Words, words, words. They're so important. And yet we use them like they mean nothing. It's very important that we really respect the power behind words. Because if we don't, we're just aimlessly hurting ourselves as well as others. We're not giving grace to anyone. There's no. Mm-mm. It's very difficult because everything's moving so fast. You get up in the morning, you drive, you go into work, or maybe you're staying at home and you get on the internet and drive. And things are going so fast, and there's a lot of meanness. There's a lot of meanness, mean things being said. In fact, so much so that it appears that we're not really being wounded by it. It appears like, well, just let it go, let it move through you. It's not a big deal. But yet it still hurts. You just forget that that happened, but it went inside of you and it touched on all these memories, and they're there. It's really important that we see how deep words go. So, where do words come from? They come from our thoughts, from our feelings. So, words represent a part of you. Every single word that you speak represents you, who you are in that moment, what's going on in you, how you use words. how you string them together. It can create enthusiasm. It can make someone feel like, thank you for that. I feel like I can do this now. Or it can make a person feel like, I thought I could do it, but now I realize that would be stupid. This is how powerful we are with one another. But it's become mundane. We don't think about words being powerful. We don't think about how they affect not only one another, but people who haven't even heard your words. Because if you affect another person, they affect another person, so on and so forth. And your words are part of that. We have people who are in charge of countries saying lots and lots of words, lots and lots of words. And each time a word is spoken by somebody who has responsibility over millions of people, that's that's pretty important to consider the importance of each word that's spoken, because it can be as powerful as bombs. Really. Everything that we do comes from our thoughts. Words that are spoken, words that are not spoken, but they're still felt. We act upon those words whether we speak them or not. We create environments of peace or war by our words, which begin in our minds. How do you think? How do you think? Do you do you want to have grace? Because sometimes in the times that we live in, there are people who feel so hurt, so betrayed by what's going on in the world. Doesn't matter what area we're talking about. There's some pretty disgraceful things being said and acted upon all over the world. It really doesn't matter which part we're even talking about, except we have to help ourselves not to disgrace grace, not to disgrace grace. It's important that we have more grace for one another, for understanding that when somebody misspeaks to you, that you have surely misspoke to others. This is not about being punished. Karma doesn't come along and say, oh, your turn to be punished. No. Everything has a cause and an effect, and every effect produces more causes. And then they start to gather one another, and they start to get bigger and bigger. And now we have a really, really big effect in the world about words. Words can be very cheap, in the sense of there's like no meaning behind them, yet they're pretty awful words. But we say, I wasn't mean. I don't really mean that. It's just an expression. There are so many other words that could have been chosen. Why did we choose those words? Because that's our habit. Words always reveal the quality of our mind at any given moment. You can never say a single word that you did not think first. So if you want to see where you are in terms of whatever, anger, your past, whatever it is that you're looking for to exploring about yourself, pay attention today, for the rest of the day, on what words actually come out of your mouth. To be more purposeful. It's not easy. I'd love to tell you it's easy. I'd love to tell you I've got this wired. No. But it is something that I ponder on. It is something that I do work with. It is. And I'd love to tell you I'm further along than I feel that I am. But it's not true. And I'm not worried about it. I'm not ashamed about it. No. You know, I'm a work in progress and I want to progress. I want to have more authority, so to speak, over my impulses. I want to be in charge of my life. And that includes being in charge of my life, means being in charge over my thoughts and how they move through my mouth and out into other people. So it's important for us to know that paying attention to our words is a huge part of spirituality. It's very, 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 very big. Words are powerful and meaningful. And when we just pretend like they're not, it's like, so what? Why are you acting, hurt about this? Like children hurt each other, and they're like, all I said was da 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 da. I don't know why she's making such a big deal out of it. Okay, children do this, but really big children, 6-foot children, adults, we do this to each other. So we have to like work on our inner strength, our patience. Grace is something that exists in all of us because we're free to give it to ourselves and to anyone that's around us. But what makes it so that it's not so free is all of the crud that we have inside of us. And it builds up and grace can't flow through us. It's stuck. It's like a pipe that's got stuff in it. And now grace can't flow, can't move. And it's important to know that grace is beautiful, really beautiful. And I say it that way because sometimes we don't associate beautiful with strength. It's kind of odd, huh? But beauty, true beauty, has enormous power and strength over us. You know, you see, um, you see a tree that's in full bloom. You're like, wow. In that moment, whenever you say, wow, that word, WOW, is grace. It's a moment of grace. Wow. You're stopped in your tracks. There's nothing in you except beauty. Your eyes brought it into you and it began to move through you. And in that moment, you were stunned. That's grace. When we say something to somebody and it hits them and you didn't really know that you were going to hit them with this good thing, I say hit, but you could say something to someone and it touches on something inside of them, and then they're like, oh, what? I've never heard that before. That makes so much sense. Thank you. And you're like, well, it was just this, but it was a moment of grace that was shared between two people. It stunned both of us, the person who received the words, and then the person who gave the words is also stunned because they weren't doing it on purpose. They didn't have any ambition. Because you can't bring that kind of response from somebody if you have the ambition to do it. It has to be natural. So we work on being loving so that we're strong, and kind. Because as the world moves more towards violence, there's a word, and it doesn't hold grace with it. Violence is seen automatically as strength because it produces fear. When you hear me say the word violence, it probably doesn't make you want to smile. Probably makes you kind of like sit back and suddenly your mind can be flooded with images, which I don't want that to happen to us. I'm saying it so that you can see the power of a single word. And here we're sitting in this context talking about grace. But when I say that V word, violence, It just shatters. And that's what violence does. It shatters. It shatters literally as well as figuratively. It doesn't bring things together. Violence is designed to shatter, to tear apart, to explode, to bring something that was in oneness into a million pieces. That's what violence does. Grace, grace comes in moments after the shattering has occurred because there's an emptiness in those that are still there, an actual emptiness and a shock at what they perceive. And in that moment, it's so profound that they experience grace, that they know, I don't want to be part of this. I don't want to see it. I don't want to experience it. I don't want these people to be harmed. In that moment, you're experiencing grace because you're like, I don't want anything that can take away from grace. Now, if only that moment, it's so profound that we think it will last a lifetime, and it will be a memory in us, that moment. And that moment of grace will stay with us. But then we have to learn to practice that grace that came upon us in that moment, that realization that we do not want to cause harm. Because in that moment, when you see violence like that, if this comes upon you, you have suddenly had awareness of how easily we can cause harm to one another. And it makes you not want to do that. And that's amazing. That's amazing grace. That's what that is. Mhm. When you feel in a particular moment, I don't want to act like that. I feel that in there. That's a turning point. That's a turning point in your heart, the ability to open up and to feel that you have caused pain. Even though that in that moment it was somebody else that was causing pain to somebody else, but it touches you and where you have caused pain. And you see, it helps us to understand that the person who's causing the pain now, the more we want to wish them pain, it doesn't help to bring about grace. Grace requires inner strength, the ability to resist violent thoughts. And violence doesn't have to have a weapon. You have a mouth, huge weapon. This can cause all the harm that's necessary to bring people down from things. And this is also the opposite of weapon. It's an instrument of peace and of strength. So this, our mouth, and how we use it with words can take things down or elevate them. It can be a weapon or it can be an instrument for peace. But it needs to be respected. We can't be in denial of how strong we actually are. We get into places where we all feel so victimized that you wouldn't think that there's any victimizers around. Where are there any victimizers? We all already feel so victimized. I mean, you victimized me, I victimized you. Da, 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 da. We go on and on and on and on. And we live in that and we replay it again and again and again. And where is our ability to find peace or to find grace within us? I know what I'm saying is very difficult because it's like, well, why would I feel peace after somebody's hurt me like that? I'm not thinking that you would. I'm putting this out here because It'll be a memory that, oh, maybe there is something in here that's good, something that I can overcome. Because we get so caught up in, you did this to me, that we can't give ourselves grace. And right now, I'm like really concerned about you giving yourself grace, me giving myself grace. Because as we give ourselves grace, pardon in that moment, it helps us to know that we don't have to live in shame. We don't have to live in shame, which means we don't have to make other people ashamed. We can speak to them with dignity and respect their humanity. Everybody can do that to everybody else, but we're not developed enough to where we could all do it at the same time. So, grace is one of those things that takes its one moment that's immaculate, it's perfectly pure, and it moves through you in that moment, and you can see clearly. You can see clearly that violence doesn't work. Violent words, violent weapons, violent actions, they don't give us what we want. In that moment, you understand that. But if that moment isn't seized and isn't practiced, then we just revert back to they're bad and I need to hurt them even one step more than they hurt me. Without grace in our heart, we become people who feel that revenge will make us feel better, that it'll bring the scales of balance into sync with one another. It's nonsensical, of course, and it's brutal, and it literally sets us back because it isn't strength. It's strength of weaponry, which is built to tear apart. It isn't built from grace, the ability to pardon and to continue on. It takes more than a word to say, I pardon you. That doesn't mean, like I said before, it doesn't necessarily mean the truth. We can say all kinds of things. How many times have people say, I love you to another person and they don't mean it? How many times has somebody heard somebody say, I love you, and then the next day that person breaks up with them? But where's the love? Words, you see, don't have to reflect the way that we hope of what's really in there. The word comes out, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Yes, I cheated on you. And yes, I did all those bad things. And yes, you just found out about it. But you got to believe me. I do love you. But the real question here is, do you love yourself? Because if you don't love yourself, you're going to continue with bad behavior. It's going to hurt me, even though you say you love me. We all have to have the grace of loving our own self. So that when we do say, I love you to another person, we know what that means. If you don't have that love for yourself and you say it to others, do you really know? We practice love on our own self. Can you pardon you? If you have shame, which everybody has shame in some degree, if you have shame there, that's the part of you that needs to have some love and understanding from you so that you don't see yourself as the big bad bully. No matter how big and bad the bully is, every big bad bully has some sort of great deal of pain in there that's preventing them from to be able to understand what grace means. So you know the song Amazing Grace and its history about the slave trade. And you think about that. Whew. No humanity in that. Not even an ounce. And from that came that song. Because grace is so amazing that we don't even know that it exists until we feel it. And then when we do feel it, it's a combination of very deep pain. You wouldn't think pain would be involved, but it is. Very deep pain and immediate understanding, which comes from intuition. Grace is an intuitive experience. Because when you're locked into a feeling of um, shame or blaming or some sort of violence that you feel is justified, analysis isn't going to make that better. Well, I think I probably should be doing something else. And what about this? I wonder if I could like be nice to these people. Blah, blah, blah. Nope. You need immediate rescue. And thank God we're human beings because we are intuitionists. We are intuitionists. Just because we don't use this word very often doesn't mean that that isn't the truth. As human beings, we all have the ability to be intuitive 24/7. And the more you practice intuition, the more that you come in tune with your heart. And you know the difference between grace and violent thoughts. Not only do you choose grace, because it's not just enough to choose something, intuition alerts us to how it feels. It's like it helps us to feel something because you don't have any words in that moment. And if you can hold on to that moment and treasure it, what will come from that is transformation. Intuition is the key to transformation. We have to intuit what it feels like to be strong and kind in a moment. To know that you can stand there and know that, no, I've been that person before that just hurt me. I've been that person. I can feel it. I know it. I know it means I intuit it. And if we're strong enough in that moment, that intuition brings that awareness to it so we can act upon it. We can change ourselves. Intuition brings awareness. Awareness gives us opportunity to make choices to change. Intuition brings awareness. Awareness gives us an opportunity to make the choices to change. Awareness isn't enough. Intuition isn't enough. But they are necessary to get us to that point so that we know that we can actually make the changes that are necessary to uplift our life, to be more free inside, to not carry the burden of guilt. Guilt has to be transformed at some point, and it gets transformed by grace. Guilt? I don't know. I don't know about guilt in the sense of that it's something that you notice it's never been a virtuous quality on my list. No. I mean, we present guilt in some spiritual ways where we think, oh, that's good. Well, you feel guilty. That's a start. I don't know about that. I think remorse is really important. Remorse is where we see the harm that we have done. We actually see it, and it actually moves us into a space of, oh my God, no, I did that. Remorse will change us, just like the song Amazing Grace. The author was transformed. Grace is alive and well in all of us, and it is amazing. Most definitely, it's amazing. Guilt is not amazing. Grace is amazing. Anybody can feel bad about themselves or try to make other people feel bad about themselves. Shame people, make sure that these people don't have any sort of opportunities because they're so bad, they're so bad, they're so bad. And we can convince people that they're never going to amount to anything. They're just going to be swept away. No grace in that. There's no even words that I even want to talk about for that. We forget that to be a human being is a very divine experience. It is. Each one of us have a divine aspect to us. In fact, it's who we really are. We live on a divine planet. What? Mm-hmm. Look what we've done with our big giant church. We've put the trash out in the open. Where's our grace? Where's our dignity? It got lost because we go too fast. We have minds that are just roaring down the mountainside. And I've said this before when we're doing meditations, but I think it's important for everybody to realize that I have no idea how many times people have said to me over the years, decades, I don't meditate because my mind moves too fast. Okay, join the human race. Everybody's mind, you need to know this, everybody's mind moves too fast. Everybody's mind moves too fast. And it's causing all kinds of problems. Anxiety. Anxiety is through the roof. We all suffer from it in varying degrees. And we have these minds that are super, super sonic fast. And we just want it to go faster and faster and faster. Scroll faster, 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 faster. Give me more news. Faster, 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 faster. Everything has to go really, really supersonic fast. And where are you going that you need to get there so fast? What is your destination? What is your plan? Why are you going so fast if you have no plan? But if you say to Americans, slow down, they feel you can make people feel insulted. Slow down! What are you talking about? Well, probably not what you're thinking I'm talking about. Slow down means be able to gain some insight, some awareness in the moment. If you're moving so fast, it's things are just moving past us and we don't have time to make proper decisions. So we make clumsy mistakes with our speech. And we're sort of like, I don't care. I don't care what you think. I'm just going to say these bad words. I'm just going to say all these icky things. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Because it's going so fast. So grace has an emptiness to it. It has an emptiness to it. Like I was telling you, it's a moment. It's a moment where you see that what you were thinking before is wrong. And in that moment, when you see it, you're not judging yourself. You're not judging someone else. You actually feel it. It creates an actual feeling inside of you of, I don't want to go back. I want to live in this moment. And this moment was brought to us by incredible pain. Grace helps us to understand pain. Where does it come from? Why do we have it in our minds, in our emotions, in our bodies, in our societies, everywhere. Why do we have all of this pain? Because pain is a great teacher and it tells you that you've gone too far. When you put your hand close to a fire, it starts to hurt. So you immediately pull your hand back. So when we're having a conversation and we start to get hurt, we have a tendency to push into it rather than to pull back. Pain is a big teacher. It tells you you have gone too far. Now I'm giving you fair warning. If you continue down this path, you are going to be harmed. Pain does warn us. You have a headache, something's out of balance. Your elbow hurts, something's out of balance. Your emotional heart hurts, something's out of balance. We ignore it and we're like, oh, it's no big deal. I can deal with it. I can deal with it. Well, okay, but I don't know what that means. When we have pain, we need to stop and listen and treat it. Treat it to love, to compassion, to understanding. It's important. We live in a world that is not peaceful. But don't let it be daunting. Don't let it scare you into you giving up peace. No. We stay strong. We stay strong in grace. All of us, all of us together right now, we stand strong in grace, which means we're not against anyone. And what we are standing strong in grace about is that we know that when we put peace out into the world, it matters. Don't you let anybody tell you it's not a big deal. So what? You put peace out in the world. That's cute. That's really cute. But it won't make a difference. Don't you listen to that. Don't you listen to that. It makes a dang difference. It makes a huge, huge difference. When we have a counterbalance to all the hate, because we're practicing peace and we're sending out in the world every day, that's a really big deal. That is not a weapon. That is a blanket of truth. And it's powerful and it's empowering. Never give it up. Always fight hate with peace. That means you practice it within yourself. You put it out. You put out peace into the world. Don't wait to be perfect because we're not going to get it. You start doing it right now. Don't wait till, well, I'll wait till I'm a better person, then I'll put it out. No, this is how you become a better person. Practice it in your words, in your thoughts, in your actions. You practice peace and keep practicing peace and know that you're going to fail. And then you get yourself back up and you do it again 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 and know that you're not going to be perfect at it. And nobody needs for you to be perfect at it. We just need things to counterbalance the bullets of hate. And we can't do it in a hateful way because it won't work. We'll end up on the side of hate. We all have to protect ourselves from that because hate is highly contagious and there isn't a vaccine for that. Mm-mm. No, you cannot be immune to it. But when you practice peace and you practice love, it doesn't want anything to do with you. Hate doesn't want anything to do with you. You have no place for it. So I think it's important that we continue to practice our inner strength. So For the, I'm giving you the word early because we can talk about it just a little bit. So the virtue for the month of October is the word character. It's a really good word. It's kind of an old-fashioned word. We don't really use it anymore. You don't really hear people saying, well, now that's a person of character. It's just like it's kind of gone out of fashion, I guess we could say. But I like it. I like it because character is in reference to the things that are required to exist so grace can flow, right? So grace can flow through us. So the saboteur for the month of October is going to be thoughtlessness. Thoughtlessness. So we know what the word thoughtful means. Oh, that was very thoughtful of you. So it's like your thoughts were full of caring. Thoughtless, when we say that was so thoughtless, we're implying that somebody didn't think before they acted. They didn't maybe their actions were far worse than what they thought they were going to be in some way. So character has to do with building up those parts of us that counterbalance hate in all its forms. Hate is big, and it's getting fed. I don't know where all this food is coming from, but the mouth of hate it's hungry and it's getting fed. Just mouthful after mouthful. Oh yeah, here, have some more. It's just getting huge. It doesn't matter where you go. It could happen in a grocery store because somebody thinks that you crowded in front of them or something. I mean, it's the tiniest little things people are exploding about. Now, that should tell us we're in trouble. Why doesn't that tell us that we're in trouble? When people are so upset over minor little things, where we have people who now want to harm other people, even take their life because of a mistake, we're in trouble. So I say that to you in this way because we don't have to be. But it will take a tremendous amount of courage to counterbalance that much hate. And courage comes from grace. So again, remember the song Amazing Grace. Remember who wrote it. And know that it's life-changing. Grace changes everything. Everything. To use it as a word to focus on, to ponder on, to become. I am grace. I speak with grace. You see, affirmations are very important because I am means it's in me. And the more that you actually say it, the more it comes to the forefront. That's why I am. That's why we say that, because we're acknowledging that these beautiful virtues are inherent within us. So when you say, I am grace, I am courage, even if your other voice is saying, no, you're not, you're a cowardly lion and you know it. You just want to tell that voice, no, I am courageous. That's right, I am. It's in me, it lives in my heart. And I'm going to acknowledge it every day so that it's always available to me and I'll never forget it again. Affirmations make us remember I am truth. I am truth. I am love. I am love. I am peace. I am grace. I am dignity. In Buddhism, they use the word noble. I love this one. I am noble. I am noble. Has nothing to do with class. No, it's much deeper than that. So affirmations help us to remember who we really are so that we don't live the damn lie of just, I'm a violent person. No, no. Violence It's an extreme way of being. And it's not about unity. It's not about peace. It's not about coming together. It's not about love. No, it won't make the boogeyman go away because people who use violence can very easily become the boogeyman themselves. So we tell ourselves, no, I am grace. I am love. I am strong. I am kind. We are kind and mean it. If you do affirmations like this, okay, what was that word I was using? Grace? Oh, yeah, I am grace. Where did I put my coffee? Oh, yeah, I am grace. I am grace. I am. I am grace. Use your heart, use your emotions. Never be embarrassed that you have emotions. Mm-mm. Use that energy to do your affirmations or your prayers and send them out to affect others. Do prayers for peace every day. Start with yourself. Kindly grant me peace. Help me to help myself to be a more peaceful person. That's a prayer that I use a lot. Help me to help myself. Because I don't want to, I'm not waiting for something to come in and create a miracle for me. I'm a worker bee. My nature is work, work, work. So I always ask for help to help myself. You do it however you want to do it. But give yourself grace and practice grace. Practice the word character, right? Hmm? Perfect timing? I don't even know. I just look, okay, where are we at? um, I do want to say thank you that you come together with me. It's nice to know that you have a pod. So we all have this wonderful pod. uh, yeah, we are like bees. We're like worker bees for peace. I know what you said. But we are. We're like little worker bees, and bees are strong and we need them. If we didn't have them, we could lose all the color in the world. We could lose our vegetables and fruits. I know, right? So we love bees. So send grace to bees. Send peace to bees. Don't forget the animals when you do your work and you do your visualizations and affirmations. Send it out into the world. Send it all out. Have it move through you, move through your family, out through you, all the way out into the world. Okay, send it out there. Send out peace. Because we have a lot of work to do. I'm sure you've noticed people are interested in violence. So we have a lot of work to do. Don't let it overwhelm you. Don't stop doing it because you think it's too daunting. We have a lot of work to do, and I hope that you enjoy all the work that you're doing on your work for peace. So character, have a strong character. You can continue pondering on grace because it's an unusual word that we don't use very much. And so uh, let us do 3 ohms together. And remember, when you do your ohming, just find that place inside of you that vibrates to love. You can actually feel it, like it's like a clean place inside of you. It's like when you feel relief, something you were waiting for the other shoe to drop, as we say, and it didn't happen, and you feel that feeling of relief, like, oh, oh, okay, where you feel that relief, oh, thank goodness. All right, that's where you want to own from, that place where that is born from. Om. 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 Thank you so much for being here and being together. Peace be with you. Namaste.